Hey there, friends. We're doing a very important repair in the shop. Everett is fixing the toilet. That thing sticks up, so it just constantly refilling or wanting to refill the toilet and wasting a lot of water. It bothered Everett enough that he decided to fix it. How's it going?
I shall be victorious.
All right,
it's going pretty well. There was some gunk on here. I cleaned it off. We're looking pretty good now.
Fantastic. The tutorial will be on YouTube next week.
Absolutely.
Never a dull moment here in the shop. Got a old bottle of super glue. Let me show you here. The end of it, so crusty. It's also almost empty. So I have a new bottle, and I'm just gonna pour whatever's left in this bottle in the other bottle, like that, and top it off. This is the sort of riveting stuff you do in the shop. Oh yeah, that's exciting. Anyway, this can get thrown away, and we will continue our gluing, because believe it or not, I broke my hairdryer again. I dropped it again. Let me show you. Something else is rattling around in there. Anyway, this part here where the motor is like held in place, yeah, that broke. So I'm gonna glue that back. Oh, there it goes. Now I'm sure it'll work perfectly. We just finished up the rose quartz sword. Britt just got that video all put together. And I am continuing work on the book. Where's my accelerant? Here we go, I'll just spray it. Boop. There we go. I'm gonna tape this up again. Hopefully that holds it together. As long as I can refrain from dropping this anymore, I should be all right. Anyway, I'm doing photos for the new book. And, oh, no, that totally just fell apart. Doing photos, and I needed my hairdryer, and I threw it on the ground. So that's where I'm at right now. I'll show you some of the stuff that I'm taking pictures of. Back in business. I've got some mesh here showing off eye coverings for my book on helmets. So I have a couple different meshes here. This is styrene with holes drilled in it. And I just painted black paint on the back so that it's black when you're looking out and white on the outside. And then I use this to dry the paint really fast. And it works super well. What a trooper. I don't think this thing is gonna die anytime soon, so long as I don't drop it again. So if you guys can think of a fun name for this hairdryer, let me know in the comments. And maybe next week we will christen this tough little bugger with a name, kind of like Jabba the Hutt, or the Spinatrator, or the Bungholer, or what else has a name? Oh, the Ultimaker. Ultimaker's name is Fresh Prince. If you have a name for this tough little hairdryer, leave it in the comments. I have been taking a lot of photos over there for the new book, and I have this remote that I use to take photos. It's connected to the wireless thing on the camera, and when I push this button a little bit, that light turns green, which means it'll focus, and then when I push it all the way, it turns red and it snaps a photo, or it'll start recording video, whatever. It's a really neat little cheap thing I have for taking photos, especially if I have both my hands occupied. If I'm holding a piece of foam and a knife and I'm cutting something, I can take a photo with this. The way I do it is like this. I just hold it in my mouth and bite the button. Now, that works, however, this is getting gross. Also, I've been kind of slobbering on it, and I don't want to ruin this with my spit. So I had an idea. I made a little device. So the idea is, this is gonna be a foot pedal. My remote slides really snug in there. The button's right there, and then there's a pedal, basically. And I was testing some different stuff. Some upholstery foam here will get glued to the bottom of this, I think. And then when I push this with my foot a little bit, it turns green, and a little more. It's hard to see, but it does take a photo. Let's see. There we go. So that gives me that sort of variable pressure when I push on it with my foot. Hopefully I can like ease it real careful like. And snap photos that way without putting this thing in my mouth. So I'm going to finish gluing this thing together and go give it a test. I'm over at the photo booth area and I got it all set up. This is the remote receiver and the I guess, transmitter is here. So it's got a light on the top, same as on the button. You probably can't see it there, but see how the camera is focusing? And then I snap a photo. Let me pretend to work on something. So this is gonna go down on the ground. I'll put it where my foot goes, and I'll pretend I'm cutting this pencil, and I can focus and snap a photo. And I did all that with my foot. That's perfect. I have a hunch that this silly thing I made in like 10 minutes is gonna be something I use for the next 10 years. The only thing I have to do now is clean all the mouth crud out of here. Ooh. This is the first gem that we cast for rose quartz sword, and I cast it in epoxy, and the silicone I think was still curing because I did it really fast, and it somehow bonded together. The epoxy, if I try and pull it out, it's clearly stuck to the silicone. So I want to try and rip this apart and see what it looks like. I may have to perform some surgery. There's no way this mold is surviving. So I'm just gonna cut it apart. There is quite a lip under there. And remember too, I made another mold, so this isn't the only copy of this mold. I don't need this. It's weird, parts of it seem to not have stuck. Parts of it seem to have stuck very well. Yeah, this silicone is not long for this world. Whoa. Well, it came out. The top shiny surface of it, it did not stick. It's just around this sort of lip down here, and I have no idea what could have caused that. But, you know what? The gem looks pretty great. There are some very tiny bubbles in there. It's not perfect, but I would say that's usable. One-time use mold? Anyone? Anyway, this doesn't need to be thrown away. I can cut this silicone up and feed it into another mold when I'm making it to take up some volume. So I'll hang on to that, but I'm not going to cast anything else out of it. Hey, doing a little bit of cleaning up this morning here in the shop, and look what I found. These are my paint jars from Rose Quartz Sword. I have 5 of them all labeled, so I had the right color on the right part. And I think they might still be good. These should be all sealed. Yeah, the paint is still good. Although, I'm probably just gonna throw this away. There's not really enough paint left to paint another sword. And I don't know if I'm gonna have any other projects that require these particular shades of pink or purple. So these are just gonna get washed out. These little mason jars are really handy for mixing paint, a fairly good amount of paint. I like to mix up, or try anyway, to mix up more paint than I need, especially because these are specific colors. In the past, I know I've been guilty of using one of those tiny jars for an airbrush, mixing the perfect color and then running out halfway through painting, and then having to try and remix that color perfectly, which I'm pretty bad at. So with this project especially, I made sure to mix up plenty of paint. And these little glass jars are fantastic. Pretty durable too. I actually dropped 3 of them on the floor yesterday, ran the concrete, and they did not break. So highly recommended for mixing up paint. As far as progress in the shop, you can see I've got a nice mess going on here. Photos are still going strong for the new book over here. I've tried to keep everything for that over there, but things are starting to creep over on this workbench. We don't have a project we're working on here right now, so that's okay. But I had to do some soldering, so I set up my soldering station right here. It's great, I have this light I can set up right over it to get really pretty soldering photos. But then other things just sort of started creeping over here. I got all my pliers over here. I've got a dust mask, I've got EL wire. Everything's just kind of creeping. But I'm spending a little time, as you can see, cleaning up today, making sure everything's tidy and where it needs to be so I can have a very productive day, which is good because we have a lot of work to do, especially making more photos for the book. That's going really well. I probably shot between 200 and 300 photos so far. Most of our books end up having around 500 photos in them, so I'm on track. Now, sometimes I'll take 10 photos right in a row in like the span of 30 seconds showing a process, and sometimes it takes me half an hour just to take 1 photo because I have to go build something or modify something or wait for something to dry. So yeah, this process takes a while, and some days I get to take 10 photos, and some days I take 100 photos. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. But it's a lot of fun. I love my photography, and I love getting to put this book together for you guys. In fact, Brittany has just started the first draft of assembling the book. Now that we have some photos ready, she's starting to put them together, and it's starting to kind of look like a book. Not enough to show yet, but I just wanted to share how excited I am since we've been making so much progress on this project. Anyway, I've babbled at you for long enough. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in the shop today. We are going to be working on our next video soon. We're gonna brainstorm ideas for that tomorrow, but it'll be, I think we're working on our Halloween video. We had so much fun with the one we did last year that we're gonna do it again this year, and it should be really, really fantastic. Thanks as always for hanging out and supporting us. You make a huge difference in our lives, and I appreciate it. So thank you again so much just for being so damn awesome. I hope you're having a wonderful time in your shop this week. I hope you're having a wonderful week. And I'll talk to you in just a few days when we start working on that next project. All right, you guys keep being cool. I'll catch you later.